The state of Madison College, a report from the president this morning on For the Record. Good morning, I'm Neil Heinen. It's a little early for an exit interview with Madison College President Bettsey Barhorst. While she's announced her retirement, she's running the college until her successor is named and can start sometime in July or August. Rather, this is a look at one of Madison's most important assets at a critical time in both the college's and the community's history. It's about education, job training, politics, money, and yes, leadership. Welcome to For the Record, Madison College President Bettsey Barhorst. Bettsey, thanks for doing this. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Oh, good to see you too.
So we won't have a retrospective of your career here quite yet. We'll save that for a summer.
Okay.
But do talk about the decision a little bit and the timing of it and why, you know, with everything that you've done at that college, now's the time to
from the college perspective, the buildings all the new buildings will be open by this summer. So I feel kind of like Moses, you know, leading people to the promised land, but he didn't get to go. But it's time for someone else then to take it the next step. Personally, I have elderly parents, and I'm running back and forth to St. Louis a lot, and that's a 6-hour drive. Let me tell you, I did it last night again. So that kind of thing. We have grandchildren in Chicago and Peoria, so and we like to ski and to do all kinds of outside things. And I keep saying this in it because it's the truth. My husband gets to do all those, and I'm always working. So it was time. It's time.
All right. We will spend another half an hour and we'll talk about your tenure, because I know that you're proud of a lot of what you've accomplished at the college. But speaking of the buildings, remind everybody who may have forgotten what $137 million bought and how many buildings and what are they and when do they open?
Sure. Actually, sometimes we have trouble keeping count, but already we have done 4 ribbon cuttings. One on each of the regional campuses, and that's Watertown and Reedsburg and Fort Atkinson and Portage. And each one of those has a new look, has expanded facilities, has more student services, which are so necessary. So those have been exciting. Now, the first ribbon cutting in Madison will be held on the 20th of February, and that is the Protective Services Building. That means fire and police and EMT.
All right, I want to get back to that in a minute.
All right.
And then, then what's next?
Then the next will be, I'm trying to think of, none of the others will be really open till the summer. Right. But the Ingenuity Center, which is for advanced manufacturing and entrepreneurial ideas in manufacturing, that should be ready very soon, March, April. The health building, which is interesting, is the first building that was started, but because it's so complicated, that will be ready about April. And this
is where our new nurses are coming from.
That's right, your new nurses and all the other kinds of careers that go along with the health field. And then then the next one, the biggest one, and the one for me that's most exciting is the Gateway Center, we call it, and that's the entrance. There will now be a front door to Madison College. It has never had a front door, and people never know quite where to go. And so we tell a lot of people where to go. And so now it's just gorgeous what we've been able to do, so that as soon as students come in, or potential students, they have that welcoming feeling. That was the whole thing, the whole idea, welcome, and then the student services are right there. So that you come in and you see welcome, and then right next to it will be, okay, here's where you go for financial aid, for advising, for counseling.
It's really needed, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean, just to give it a sense of place.
Yes, that's it. They're there.
You're right. There are so many different ways to get in, and if you turn the wrong way, you're in your office, and if you turn the right way, you're in the cafeteria.
That's right. Yeah.
So then, the culinary arts facility, how does that fit in?
That will be downtown.
Right.
And that should be. We're not sure that is being held off a bit because the bids came in too high. And I don't know if you're aware, but we knew partly we were lucky and partly we knew that the timing was right, so that virtually all of the projects came in below budget, which was wonderful, and they've been done on time or before. So that's been great. But now the construction, what we can see, the construction world is not quite as hungry as it was 2.5 years ago. And so the bids came in higher than we expected, than we had planned. So we are going out again. We're re-engineering the project. But I can guarantee you it will be downtown, and it will be open within the, I would say, the next 1.5 to 2 years.
Okay, and so once that's done, then that does complete the referendum?
Yes. Now, there were smaller things that we did, for example, in South Madison, but on Park Street. We do that in cooperation with the city, and that's a lease kind of thing. The biggest thing that will still be out there is the West Campus. The West Campus that is over by the mall, West Town Mall, across the street from it, is leased. The whole building, everything is leased. And as we put things in it, we try to put things that could be moved if necessary. The protective services were there, for example. Now they will be on campus. They've actually already opened on campus, but all that's still going on. So what do we do with the West? We knew by all the figures, we had done studies of where the population is, where is it going to be in the Madison area, and we knew we had to have something west or south. And so when that building became available, and at that time we had to have something for the police and fire, we took it. It's been great. It's still good. We love the location. But that's a big question mark, and that is not included. It's the next thing on the master plan. We just have been working the master plan, but it is not included with the resources.
Is there a lease up soon?
The lease is. We still have a few more years. I think 3 years on it at least, and
but
then
that's
you
the
can
time to start
always
planning.
you can always see. So that's as I said, it's next on the line in master plan, but. Not sure where it's going to go.
Betsy, help us understand. Give us your perspective now on the Protective Services building and the city's decision not to use it. And where does that stand? Is that final? What's going on?
We're still negotiating, but as of yesterday, it's that would have been for this last week. It looks as if we're going to come to some agreement, and we. The city has to watch their resources the same as we do. So we understand that, how to get the best use of taxpayer funds. But, and we've worked together for years and years and years. And so we hope to continue to do that. I think there may have been some misunderstandings back and forth. We've been trying to straighten that out. But as of now, we'll still be working with them. They may want some other things of their own. For example, at a real working fire station, that would be great for our students to be able to have some experience there. The same as for theirs to use our fire tower. That's just absolutely critical. And the one they have, maybe you've seen, has been burned down so many times that you can only burn something so much before it should just be ashes. So that's where we are. The new one should be, we're hoping, ready for fall semester. That's we have to work that out, but that's the plan.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about the students at Madison College right after this.
Thanks. So here is higher ed that is designed to change. I mean, that's what we do. We don't go through years and years and years of curriculum development. We go through, oh my gosh, the business community needs this. What can we do for next semester?
Haven't aged a day.
Yeah, right.
That was
that's the first day. That's my first day outfit.
From the beginning.
Yeah, so I couldn't believe you had that.
I got so excited I pulled my microphone off. Betsy, talk about maybe that's a good way to start. How the student body has changed. Who's going to Madison College now? Of course, I mean, it certainly is worth noting that your tenure included the worst recession in
That's right.
in our history,
And,
so that had a profound impact.
It certainly did, because when I came, still the student body was still all ages. The students that we deal with very much, the biggest part would be the 18 to 25-year-old, because they're out of school. We're pushing them on to UW. And out into the workforce. So that's always been that way. But we've always had people up till their 90s coming to the college. But then, I started in '05, signed in '04, but started January of '05. Okay, so that was the way it's been. And then, of course, you're right, '08 came, and people started losing jobs, or even more importantly, those who are really on the ball realizing, uh-oh, I better get better trained so I can stay in my job. So we were just flooded, and this is the way it was across the country. And some of the saddest tales, I have seen 50-year-old men in line trying to get help from our advisors with tears in their eyes. I've seen them graduating with tears in their eyes. Yep. It has been quite an experience to go through that, to try to help as many people as possible. To have some that we just can't help, not in 2 years, because there's so much difference in how things are done now and what people expect.
In fact, I met with Al Studesville's
Al Studesville, our
Wiser Older Workers group,
yes,
and it's sobering.
Yes, I've spoken to that group too.
This is a group of people who want to work. They're doing everything they can, getting as many skills as they can, not finding the jobs.
That's right. I know, and I've spoken to that same group, and tried to be motivating, but in some cases it takes more experience and more study than they have time for, because they have to start bringing in money. It's a real conundrum.
How is the college changed to meet the changing needs of the students, and maybe more accurately, how is it changing even as we sit here today?
And even so, that was a real difficult time, and much of that is still there. How have we changed is that we see we need even more resources to go to student development, to our student success area, because they need more. They need more advising. We're just redoing the advising, for example, for next year. Starting this summer with at least 8 more advisors just to be there available. So that has changed. Another thing that's interesting that has changed, however, is student expectations of what we do. I just came from St. Louis yesterday, where I was meeting with my sister, who is a kindergarten teacher, who is explaining how the students coming in are so different, and we're going to get those students in their expectations, in their you are to serve me rather than this is a partnership, and so we see that too, higher expectations. Part of it frustration, that people need more. Part of it just higher expectations. So we try to come up to the plate for that, at the same time realizing that it is a partnership and no student is going to get ahead without working. And we still believe in hard work, and we will never let go of how difficult we keep our courses, because it's that rigor that will ultimately be the success factor for that student.
I don't know what it is about community colleges, but it's maybe it is the pace of change, but it's hard to get our heads around some of the competing issues there. For example, are the students that enter with plans to go to the university? That's even got a name now, doesn't it?
Well, our reverse articulation is a big deal, by the way, that we're going to be announcing. Can I talk about that?
Sure.
We have, because actually at the college now, about half of our students are going on. That's the ones in the transfer programs, but I should also mention that the other half who are in all of the programs, we have a rule, a thing I say over and over: we do not dead end anyone. So we want our nurses who graduate with that RN, for example, to go on to their BSN, and I hope their MSN and even further. Okay, so all of that is going on. But for the half who are already planning to transfer, We have an actual guaranteed transfer with the UW-Madison and with Whitewater and with a couple hundred other schools, but those are two of the big ones.
Yep.
And now we're going to be announcing shortly a reverse articulation, meaning that, and this is really big for the students, and I wish everyone would know this, that you see, we push them on to the university when they're ready to go. And they must have at least a B average, and they must have taken the right courses. But if they're ready to go on, which most are before they would graduate from us, then they never get that 2-year degree, that associate in arts and sciences. So what we are signing is that when they're at the university in Madison and they finish enough classes that they would have been able to graduate had they stayed at our school, they will automatically be ready to graduate, and the university will let us know. We will contact the student. They just have to fill out the forms, and they have another degree. And so if they don't, for some reason, don't finish at UW, they already have a degree, a certification. If they do, on their resume, they have 2 degrees now. They have an AAS, and they'll have a BS in something, or BA in something. Isn't that exciting?
That's great.
And I just can't thank the university enough, and especially Chancellor Ward, and the provost. They have just been wonderful in working with us to move the students ahead as much as we can.
And in fact, there is that element of the university student and others who want to go to Madison College.
That's another whole thing.
Let's talk about that when we come back.
That's also a reverse transfer.
Right after this.
Okay.
I am back with Madison College President Bettsey Barhorst, and we're talking about the state of Madison College. And I was getting at, Bettsey, this kind of this perception, real or otherwise, of Madison College. There's the notion now that it's a gateway to higher education, but then there's also the perception of the college as a place for lifelong learning, adult learning. Enrichment classes, or you kind of go to the community college to take a class.
That's right.
In addition, you've got college students who are getting a traditional degree, but for whom the cool stuff is at Madison College.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of the tech stuff, a lot of the stuff like culinary that's really attractive to people. How do you balance all of that?
As best we can with resources. But I have to go back and correct you, because you said we were the gateway to higher education, and you see, we are higher education.
Excellent point.
So I tell that to people all the time.
Good point.
We say,
noted.
we do cradle to coffin. Yeah. We have childcare. We have the 2 4-year-old kindergartens, for example, and we work all the way with people all the way as seniors. However, I have to say that we haven't been able to do as many enrichment classes as we would like, and we've had to raise the prices on those simply because we have to make budget, and that's difficult in these times. Another thing that's really interesting is that we are there for everyone, and many people come to take 1 class with us, or just a few classes until they job out. Then that looks as if we didn't graduate that person, and so that counts against us because the whole impetus right now for funding is based on success. Well, what is success? Well, it depends on why you came. So that's another issue we deal with.
Bettsey, I don't remember a time, and I think it continues to get worse, where politicians felt so comfortable whacking education at every level, level. And you have felt it directly and personally, but just in terms of your life as an educator, how do you deal with that right now?
You keep trying. You just keep, and there are many people in the legislature, in government, who are very supportive of us. And so you think it's kind of like having a class where you have a few difficult students, You concentrate on the good ones and you try to bring the others along. And that's what I do all the time.
And it's the environment in which you are all working.
It's the way it is today. I just wish there was some way I could let those in the legislature and in government to let them know just how very critical what we do is, and how if you would just sit with me and meet students, which I do every day that I'm on campus, and hear their stories and see how what we do changes their lives.
I think they would say they know it's critical.
Yeah.
They just think you can do it for much less.
Yes, and we have.
Than you're currently doing.
Yes, and I've told you before, I used to teach in Catholic schools, and so I know how to do things on a shoestring.
For nothing, right?
I do. I know how to use. I didn't know you didn't have to use both sides of paper until I went to the public schools, and then I saw they had some things actually printed on one side.
I just want to mention quickly the foundation, because I think people probably appreciate how important, for example, the UW Foundation is to what it does. Madison College Foundation also plays an important role and is something that needs to have more attention focused on.
Thank you, and thanks for asking that, because that's true. And what I tell people is, if you give money to the university, that is wonderful. If you give $1 there, if you give $1 to us, it goes so much further, because we have so many needy students, and our tuition costs less, and so you can get them further along the way. Again, to hear the stories of our students is, it seems to me that it's so heartwarming that it would help our foundation. They do a lot with scholarships every year. They've also helped us some with buildings. We have buildings that are just waiting to be named, and it doesn't cost that much to name a building at Madison College, or any community college, as it does.
But for some reason, it doesn't seem to enter the mind of philanthropists quite the same way that some of the other opportunities do.
I know, and people say, well, you get tax money, but so does all state schools get tax money. So it's not that, and there certainly is the way that we are asking students to pay more and more, because we can't do it otherwise. And that breaks my heart too. You know, the whole idea, the whole concept of community colleges was free higher education, at least 2 years. For everyone.
Okay. Thank you for taking the time to do this.
You're welcome.
Good to talk to you. And like I said, we'll do one more.
Okay. All right.
And we'll really let it rip then. Okay.
Okay. All right.
We're going to come back and wrap up For the Record right after this. My thanks to Bettsey Barhorst for being here today. Next week, we'll talk to the leaders from the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County about a major fundraiser they have coming up in Madison. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Sunday morning.